How do, folks? It's Harrison with Mainely Acres Farms, and on today's video we are going to be going over the basic tips and tricks on how to raise freshwater prawns at home in your fish aquarium. So definitely stay tuned because we got some great tips coming up. Alrighty, the first tip is the tank size. You're definitely going to want to be at a 30-gallon and up in your tank sizes. You can use a 10-gallon tank if you're raising just one or two, but I wouldn't really recommend that because you're going to have to do more water changes and more filter changes on them because they do eat quite a bit and produce a lot of waste. The tank that you guys see in front of you here is a 30-gallon tank, and I have about 30 prawns in here, so that's pretty good for what I have. The main thing is you want to make sure that they got plenty of hiding spots in here and plenty of room to get around because they are territorial and they are pretty feisty. The next thing we're going to talk about is the water temperature. So I'm running this big large heater in the back of my aquarium. Now that's rated for a 100-gallon aquarium, but I found going larger and kind of overkill is better because you have an easier time of keeping the water in that parameter that you want it to be set in. These tanks normally, when you buy them and they come in a setup, it comes with a smaller heating element, and that will not work for you guys. You're going to need to buy something larger so that way you can maintain the higher temperatures, basically from the 80s into the 90s. Now, the recommended temperature for these guys is 78 through 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm running at 80, 82, so I'm on the higher end of that. I have ran these guys a bit warmer, and the only thing that I noticed is that when I run it warmer, I have to do a lot more maintenance because they're eating and producing more waste. So I'm having to do water changes about every week and changing the filters when I run it that high. So I decided to bring things down a bit, and it's made my life a lot better. Now I'm only doing water changes every other week and cleaning the filters monthly. The next important thing is the water parameters. So if you guys don't have yourselves a little test kit like one of these liquid ones, or even something as simple as these little test strips, I would highly recommend you to do that, especially if you're new to raising these guys, because they do eat and produce a lot more waste than fish do, so you have to kind of stay on top of your water parameters. But the basic water parameters are the ammonia, they like to have it below 2 parts per million. The nitrites is 0.05 and under. Nitrates is 40 parts per million. The pH 7 through 8.5. The hardness on the low end 40 parts per million, and on the high end 250 parts per million, with the dissolved oxygen between 5 and 7 parts per million. Now I found with these guys they like a lot of oxygenated water, and I believe that's because they're kind of stationary for the most part. They do move around a bit, so they're not like fish where they have the exchange of oxygen through their gills. They just kind of absorb it, and so the more oxygen you can put in your water, the better. How I achieve that is I have a long drop for my hang on the back filter, so it produces all these little air bubbles that you see here. And then I also have an air bubbler filter here running, which produces enough oxygen for these guys to be happy. On the aspect of tank size, you want to make sure to have plenty of room for these guys to roam around, so you definitely want to build some structures like you see here. This is what I've dubbed the Prawn Hotel here, and it's made out of scheduled 40 PVC and this mesh netting as like the little shelves in there for them. You can also do something basic like these little tunnels over here, where you take some of this and you just roll it on itself and you hold it all together with a bamboo skewer. Just kind of use it as a needle to hold those together, and that's all you need. Just set up a bunch of those, build yourself a hotel, and you're good to go. The thing I like about this little hotel design is it has these little end spots on the end for the really small prawns to go in and hide from these big guys in here. So that's going to lead me on to, well, how do I keep these guys from eating each other and maintaining peace in my aquarium? And the only way I found to do that is to trim their claws. So I have a pair of dog toenail clippers here, And what I typically do is when my wife's here to help me, I capture the guys with the big claws. So this guy here, who's a little over 1.5 years old, this guy up here, and there's a few other ones, one up here on the top. I'll have to catch those here soon and just clip off their claws, so that way they can't grab a hold of the other prawns and bring them in to eat them and kill them. I found that that is the best way to do that, because if not, you will definitely lose prawns. And it does not bother them at all. They'll grow their claws back really fast, especially this guy here. I have trimmed his claws probably 12 times since I've had him, and it does not bother them at all. They don't get sick, they don't get weak or anything. You just clip it off and they grow back. So as you guys can see, I got to get in here and do some trimming, but I have to wait for my wife to help me out with that. Now I will shoot video on that if you guys are interested in how that's done. I know I'm probably going to get some hateful comments down below saying, oh, it hurts them and it bothers them, but it really doesn't. It's like trimming a toenail. It grows back and it doesn't bother them one bit. The next thing we want to talk about is, what do we want to feed them? So what I have here is some sinkable food pellets that I bought from the same company that I ordered the prawns from. And what you want to make sure of when you're ordering food is that for these little guys in here, not these guys, but these other little guys over here, you're going to want to make sure to feed them anywhere from 40 to 50% protein in whatever food you get for them. And for the larger guys, you can step down to 35%. And what I did is I just made it easy. I ordered my mesh and my food from the same place I ordered the prawns, and just ordered that all at once, so that way I'd have everything when they arrived. And I ordered these guys the food and the netting from a company called KT Prawns. He's also a YouTube creator and has a YouTube channel, and I will leave his link down in the description. So if you guys are interested in any supplies for raising freshwater prawns or buying some freshwater prawns, I highly recommend KT. This isn't a collaboration video. I don't even think he knows I'm making a video about this. So if you guys do go and visit him, let him know that I sent you his way. The filter situation on here, I'm running two. I'm running an air filter here and a hang on the back, and I find that that just makes my life a lot easier. I can deal with these guys pretty easily with doing an every other week maintenance where I do a 50% water change. The filters, like I said, I change those about once a month, and we're good to go on that. Now, if you guys want some more information about how I set up my hang on the back filter with the sponges I use, I will do that in another video, but they're pretty basic setups. And so that's going to be about it. I covered where we can order some of these, some of the basics for getting started. So I'd really encourage you guys to try raising some freshwater prawns, especially if you just want them for, you know, looking purposes and you don't want to really eat them. They make really good pets. They're really active. They like to move around quite a bit. You will notice that there are some little pink things in here, and what those are shells from shrimp. So if you guys eat shrimp and you have the ones that you peel yourself, take all of the shells from those and put them in a Ziploc bag, throw them in your freezer, and then every now and again give these guys some of them, because it really helps with their molting process, with giving them a bunch of calcium to replace the shells that they lose. And also when they do molt, leave their exoskeletons in there. They will consume them, and it will just add more calcium to them. So I don't typically remove those. I'll leave them in there. They also like the little pleco pellets, the little algae food as well. I don't know if I covered that when I was talking about the food, but that's just some of the stuff that I give them. And I also, about once a month, I'll give them a whole bunch of duckweed. Now you might see some of the little remnants up here because they go through it wicked fast. I just put some in there the other day and it's almost completely gone. There's only like little bits and pieces that have floated to the top that they didn't eat. So if you guys like this video and you want to see more videos about freshwater prawns, please leave me some comments down below. Also subscribe if you're not subscribed, and hit that bell notification, because I will be doing more videos about my freshwater prawns. This is a newish adventure for me. Like I said, I've been doing it for about 2 years, and I haven't really seen a lot of people doing this. So I figured I would add my knowledge to the world of the internet and let it go from there. As always, take care and spend time with that family.